Welcome to Family Focus. I'm Joyce Johnson, CEO of Johnson and Olson Communications. With me today, well, is a guest who has been back several times. She's almost not even a guest. She's almost just a part of the show. Vaughn is with us today. Robin is with the Munroe Falls Paranormal Society, but she is here to talk about a very exciting program, which is just starting. And Robin, it's called Indigo Kids, correct?
Well, it's called the PK Division.
The PK Division, okay.
Right, Psychic Kids Division. Basically, it was a group we formed here. It's just a new baby to help children with special gifts and their parents. We want their parents involved as well because basically, to me, in order for a child to accept it, they have to be accepted with their gift at home. It kind of starts at home with them, which means I want their parents to understand that it's not something to fear, that you can develop it and control it. But the first thing is you got to learn to accept it.
Let's talk about, because you were actually one of these kids, correct? Your abilities sort of started when you were younger.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us what was going on with you when you were a child?
Oh, geez. I would see things straight on. It was never out of the corner of the eye.
Yeah.
Full children. It was always kids that would that I was
communicating
able to
with
see.
you.
Right, and they would talk just as if they were physically like you and I sitting here.
Yeah.
They would sit and communicate with me. Then they would just kind of vanish. It happened so many times.
What did you think? If somebody, and you were a child at this time, you were not even maybe even aware
I was under
of
14.
what's going on. You were under 14 years old, and all of a sudden, children are appearing and they're talking to you.
Right.
What, as a child, what did you think?
At first I thought, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind, like any normal person would. Then it kept happening. I learned to accept it. I would actually communicate with them to get some answers, try to figure out what was going on.
Did you say, who are you? I mean, how would a conversation
no,
go?
It was kind of weird. I kind of just, you feel it. It wasn't just you see them, you feel it. Where you can almost, you don't even need to talk a lot. Gosh.
Give us the if you can remember how that conversation will go. Hello? Does it start with hello?
No, it's mainly, they don't have, to me it seems like they don't have a lot of energy to even appear at times.
Yeah.
So to me it was always quick. It was, tell my dad I'm okay. And I'm like, okay.
Gotcha.
You know, but I knew exactly who
their dad was.
Right? And, you know, at 14 I'm like, I can't do that. I'm going to get, you know.
Yeah, did you communicate the message?
Yes, eventually I did because I couldn't, it was something straight out of a movie. I kid you not. I could not, she wouldn't go away until I did.
Yeah, which is a little incentive for you to do it, isn't it?
Right, and then after so many times you kind of catch on.
Yeah.
And you just kind of get what you can done.
How did this child die?
She was, 5.
Oh.
So she was very young. Basically, she had a particular disease where her lungs were just basically collapsing. And eventually they filled with fluid and she just couldn't hang on anymore. So it was actually really sad because I didn't even know who she was until I found out my older sister had babysat for her, which I didn't even know she ever did that. I didn't know the little girl's name, but we did find an obituary of her, so.
That was her.
It was her, and I was just like, wow, down to the same outfit.
Yeah.
Where I would see her, she would be in my closet at times, and then she appeared at school, which really threw me off because her father was a teacher there.
Yeah, yeah.
So
you would think she would tell him herself.
You think, yeah, but he was so
grieving.
Oh yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: when you did deliver the message, was he glad?
Oh my gosh, he was. His tears were happy. You know, and he just said, "Wow, you know, she must have just thought you were a really special person that you would follow through." And I was just like, "Well, I hope," you know. But I was almost embarrassed. I'm like, "You can't send me to the principal. I'm not crazy." You know, just like any other 14, 13, 10-year-old would
Which brings us to why we need a group like this, because if this is happening to your child, they can't explain it. They don't always have the words, and they don't always know what's going on. They're very scared.
Right.
They're very scared.
I
All right,
was.
so who is this group for?
Any child and any parent. We like I said, we do want the parents involved. We want them in the meetings. We want to educate and get them to accept that, they have a special child, an indigo or a crystal kid, is what
You have to explain
some
what
of
that
them
is.
Oh gosh, that's really deep. Crystal kids are what's they can.
That's what I'm here for, Robin, to ask the deep questions.
Right. Oh gosh.
An indigo or crystal kid, how would you describe that? What is that?
An indigo kid or indigo child. There's a lot of them, is what reports are coming around.
Okay.
There's been a lot of studies on, kids. Basically, they've been sent from a higher power to, help out.
Yeah.
They can almost seek truth. They can sit with us and see right through us and know whether we're lying.
Yeah.
They're wanting to correct the wrongs in the government and the world, and I mean they
Are they
really
real kids? Are they
right?
These
They
are real
born.
kids. Okay.
There's actually many stories. You can actually Google, indigo child. Their age range are different. You can get so much information on them. Like I said, I've done so much research. I could probably write a book about it. It's just they're really neat. They're special, and there's certain characteristics that people can look for to know if their child possibly has. Like for example, some of the children are born with really big piercing eyes. They love rocks and crystals and nature, and they kind of zone out in what they dub a trance. Sadly, a lot of these kids get dubbed, with ADD, ADHD, or autistic, and they're really not. It's just they're kind of getting information here and there from something higher than we know.
And they just feel different.
Yeah, they question. I mean, even, as awkward as teenagers and young kids feel in school, and then to have that and, say another kid doesn't, they kind of look at you different. I mean, I struggled with friends because, stuff would happen irregardless, of whether a friend was around or not, and they would just kind of be like, okay, Robin.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Well, you can't. I mean, how do you explain it to someone who's not experiencing this, especially with another kid, and another kid is going to give you a hard time?
Oh, yeah.
They just are. It's a very rough way to go, which is why this group is so important, because if your child is dealing with these issues, they're not alone.
Right. We have gone to site surveys. It's this, interview before the actual investigation, and there was a young boy, and he, aside from my girls, he was kind of my inspiration. And I just said, we've got to take this to the next level.
What was going on with him? Can you tell us his story?
He was seeing shadow figures, which were scary to him. He was thinking they were almost evil or demonic. Naturally, kids are going through their, frustrated times. I believe there was, some things going on at home, but he almost was, you are kind of what you attract, where he was feeling, struggling with things, where he was almost pulling in negative. So he had them show up at school. They would never really bother him at home, like his home around here, but they would follow him elsewhere. And he was...
And do what?
Just appear and then vanish. He would see them off in a distance, and he was really scared, and he was almost embarrassed, like shy to talk about it. And I said, look, I said, I'm one of those. I said, I can relate. I said, Eric, who was with me, can relate, which is Eric Vaughn.
Yeah.
I said, he can relate. I said, we've all had this. I said, my girls, who is your age, my Emily, she has the same thing, where they have woke her up out of a sleep, and I have seen her in the morning going, what is wrong with you? She's like, oh, I didn't sleep.
What do they want? What are they?
Usually they're attracted to the energy, be it negative or positive.
Is it because they need energy?
No, they maybe want to convey a message. They're just might be a bond in a sense, but I try to get my one daughter to talk about it, and she's very open about it, down to detail. And we've been trying to figure out, and she's going to be in the group along with my youngest, because they both have the same thing.
Now, is this going to last their lifetime? I mean, would we
know
say
what? That's the thing. That's why I started this group. First, you have to accept it. In order to accept that, you have to learn about it. You have to make sure that you're not afraid of it, and you have to understand it. Develop it. I want to help them develop it, but mainly control it. You can control it. You can, to a degree.
How would you control it? If you see a figure, how do you control this? How do you not have them come to school?
Well, you can, right. Well, you can't really. If they're going to appear to you, they're going to appear. But you can kind of block them out. But see, I don't want them to block them out to the point where I don't want them to lose it. Develop it. If the parents agree, which we have come, like, for instance, my inspiration child, his parents were so great and supportive, and it's just like, well, I want you guys involved. We're doing this and that, and they were like, wow, yeah, let's go. So and I support my child obviously because I've seen it, I've witnessed it, and I know what it's like. But gosh, to control it, you can't control when they're going to manifest themselves or come, but when you want to tap into them, you can shut them out at school to a degree, or say if you're busy with other things, to call upon them or get them to answer more questions or to see what they're coming to you for. It's almost like a meditative type step. You need to just kind of shut down and see, and maybe at times you can hear what they want. Maybe they're not verbalizing or vocalizing it, but if you shut yourself down and open up a little bit, maybe, and not be so frightened, that maybe,
Now, how many children are affected by this?
Oh gosh.
Do we have an idea how many kids might?
Number?
And they're considered gifted.
Right.
I mean, this is a gift. This is something that
it is a gift,
it's a unique
at times,
gift.
As an adult, I think, oh gosh, this is a curse sometimes. But you're going to go back and forth, especially with. Sometimes it's an inconvenience, like, the boy at school, that's kind of like you're looking off and, your friends are like, what are you looking at? Nothing.
Yeah.
You just don't want certain questions, like, or people to look at you funny. It's already awkward in school anyway. Why add to that?
Yeah.
How many kids are affected? Let's see. Gosh.
We probably don't know, because they don't always talk.
No, because sadly they're misdiagnosed at times. I don't want to say that because I'm not a doctor by any means.
But they probably are. Now, let me ask you this. Who would come to this group? All right, so there's one child that sees shadows. What are some of the other kids that might be interested in being a part of this group? What are some of their gifts?
Okay. You have, clairvoyance.
Okay.
Telepathic children. Some, mothers and their children bond so closely at times.
Yeah.
They don't even need to communicate. Like, say, for instance, if your child was a late talker, that's actually a very common characteristic of crystal kids, because they don't need to. They're almost children of few words. They'll talk when they need to. You can go up to 3 years, they're not talking much, maybe saying mom, dad, and that's about it. And that one day you'll say something, they'll go tell you a whole story right then and there. And, a lot of parents are like in awe, like, oh, wow, we were having your hearing tested, which I had my youngest daughter.
Yeah.
I've had her hearing tested.
Yeah.
It's sad. I just want to educate. I just want to educate the parents, get the word out, and get these kids to not be so scared. And just
and I will tell you the dream, and you can tell. And we were talking. My one middle son definitely has some psychic abilities, and before we were leaving to go, I don't even remember where we were going, but we were in a hurry. He said, "Mom, I have a dream I have to tell you about," because I interpret the dreams. And he said, "Mom, there were about 1,000 dachshunds jumping into our pool, this pool area." He goes, "They were swimming, they were jumping in this pool area, like thousands of them." He said, "Mom, there were like thousands of these dachshunds jumping into this pool where we swim." So we left, didn't think anything of it. And sure enough, one of my tenants who lives at that area where the pool is called and said, Joyce, I found out you have a dachshund and I want to invite you to the dachshund picnic. There are thousands of dachshunds there and you should bring yours along.
Wow.
Left the message in the short time we had left the house.
What, you said, what, maybe an hour, 2 hours?
Maybe not even that long. She had called and left that message. When I played it back, I looked at him and said, this is your dachshund dream. This woman lived where the pool was. She actually lived where this pool was. And she had a dachshund, and I had a dachshund, and she was telling me about where there are thousands of dachshunds.
Right. Oh,
that was her exact message.
See?
And he dreamed it.
You gotta bring him up and bring him in.
And he's had more than this.
Oh,
there
I'm
are
sure.
children that have dreamed of disasters. There are children, and you need to listen to your kids.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. They get so,
Really listen to them because they're not going to lie about this stuff. And they usually come to you and say, I need to talk to you about this.
When my Emily first came to me with her first apparition or any knowledge, she was just, Mom, I really need to talk to you, but don't think I'm crazy. And I kind of started laughing.
So
I'm like,
you're not the one.
You're talking to me, Emily. Are you kidding me? And then that opened her up. These kids just need to feel like it's not
They
awkward.
can talk to you about anything.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how I am. I'm not, some people, I'm not a...
Now, is there a fee for this group, and where do they meet?
Absolutely not. It is free of charge. We just want y'all there. We want people there. We want these kids. We want to help them. No fee. And
Where are your meetings held?
Oh, wow. That is a confidentiality thing.
So they go to a website?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They can go to
Why don't you give us that website? I think we have it plugged in, but go ahead and get that website on there.
Right.
Info.
They can pre-register. That's the only way anyone will be allowed to come to the meetings. Is
Info.Robin. Is that the email you want to use?
Robin at
Robin at Munroe Falls Paranormal Society.com. I imagine if they go to that Paranormal Society website, they'll be able to get information on this. Okay, so once a month you're holding meetings?
Right. We're going to keep it at once a month. And I want people to email me with any questions, any information, definitely, symptoms of what your child's experienced, the age, whatever you want to give out would help. The location will not be disclosed until we make sure that everyone's copacetic. And I mean, we're dealing with kids, so I want to make sure that
and parents
the environment's safe.
Also?
Oh, I absolutely recommend the parents come.
Yes.
It is open to them. We
Yes.
want them there. So I want you there because I want you to understand.
So what will you do at your meetings? What does one do when you have a gathering of minds such as this?
Wow.
What are they going to do at the meetings?
Definitely talk, support.
Share.
I want to, there's going to be little fun activities to see their level, to figure out to what degree. I want to know to what degree you are. I think it could go somewhere, definitely with the work that I do. If that's the thing, I don't want these kids to lose it because as adults we get so stressed out with bills, work, kids, dogs, and we tend to lose it or shut it out because there's just no time to think about it. I want these kids to hang on to it because it's such a great thing to have.
How do these abilities help a person?
Oh, wow.
How do they help you?
Well, they can help you, yeah. Say, for instance, say if your son had a dream, a premonition in a sense, could save his life. I mean, all the stories of the research that I've done on this thus far, it's going to be an ongoing learning. These stories, like the 9/11, these kids were popping out of nowhere. One kid was rushed to the emergency room with the worst case of croup. He almost died. They had him ventilated. He was on the verge of dying. He was experiencing, and he kept in a different person's voice saying, somebody call an ambulance, call 911. And the mom and the dad were freaking out because their son is blue and grabbing his neck and throat. He was feeling what they were feeling. It was all at the same time. But there's so many of these cases. Like I said, if you Google, information on indigo children and Virtue, Darlene Virtue, I think, is one woman, I believe. I don't want to quote that,
Yeah.
but she's an amazing. Her last name's
Yeah.
Virtue.
Yeah.
I know that, but if you Google any of those, she'll pop up, I'm sure.
Now, I can tell you, when I've ignored my dreams, it's been a mistake.
Right, they're telling you something.
It's been a mistake.
You know that. I mean, you.
And I know that now, but it took me a very long time to realize, oh my gosh, I should have listened to this. I should have really listened. And my son will have dreams very mundanely about being at a place where he had already dreamed about.
Deja vu.
Being
That's
that type of thing. And it might seem very slight, because to him that would be, but he's already lived
But
it.
it's that
He already
one
knows
smell.
what to
It's
expect.
that one thing that you saw in your dream that's just taken you like, wow.
He already knows what to expect. And it, again, when they dream about things, they're kids that have dreamed of disasters. I remember reading one about a school that was covered in London. This might ring a bell to you. Kids were dreaming about it. People that lived in that area were dreaming about this school that was being destroyed and all the kids that died. And they actually said, I dreamed that mud covered this, and my friends died, and it happened. And children were dreaming about it.
See, that's so, to me,
It was
that's,
so
I mean, you can see how powerful they are.
very
I mean,
powerful.
They're just so capable.
But you almost think, oh my gosh, it's so incredible. How could this really happen? And sometimes dreams just represent another part. They
Or
don't always.
need
If
or
someone is being
something.
killed, it doesn't mean that they're going to be murdered. I
Right.
mean, you have to really look at the dream and say, okay, this is what's going on.
Right.
This is what's
They
going on.
have
in it.
many other meanings at times.
Yes.
So.
Now, so a child who has these abilities, it probably is something the rest of their life that they are going to have if they continue to work with it.
Right. Yeah. The key is to just, I mean, the biggest key is acceptance.
Yes.
Because if you don't accept it, how can anyone else?
Yes.
You know, I just think that if you accept it, you educate yourself on it.
Now, I'm sure you've seen The Sixth Sense.
Yes.
What do you think about movies like that? Does that help people?
Well, I
or
brought
does
it up when I was giving
does,
you.
does, does it help people to see movies like I See Dead People? When
Yes, it's not
it does.
uncommon.
So they would say that movie is probably accurate in
To a
many
degree,
ways.
yeah,
To a degree.
absolutely. I mean, who's to say that, you know, a child's not seeing certain visions in a school
Yes.
or certain people
Yeah.
are coming to them? I don't doubt it. I mean, there's been weirder things.
Now, you said one daughter has this. Does the other?
Honestly, this is all theory. My oldest daughter communicates and sees.
Okay.
I think my youngest daughter is more of the magnet. She is
Really?
I do not medicate
Yeah,
my children.
yeah.
I will not.
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's a big no-no for indigo crystal kids. They
Don't
want
medicate.
to. There's particular diets that you want to feed them because.
Like what?
Well, okay. Both my kids, for example, this is another characteristic. Do not like red meat. They really don't. My youngest daughter gets cracked. You know, she'll crack up people at Subway for crying out loud because here we'll be ordering, you know, the unhealthy sandwich, and Madison will be like, I want a salad. Can you throw pickles on? And the guy's like, is she serious? Yeah, yeah. But she'll eat. They want juices and fruits and vegetables, and my kids are huge into fruits and vegetables. If I have it there, yeah, they'd rather have that. I mean, don't get me wrong. They want her on ADHD meds, and I will not. No, I think
No.
she's the magnet. It's her energy. I mean, she keeps things very lively in our world.
How's she do in school? Is she able to focus? Or is that a trouble in school? Maybe that's why they're doing the ADD stuff, because she's not focused on it.
Well, no, because she's so busy
not
and
interested.
distracted. But she has come to me and said particular things that just are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid's so old for her age. It's weird. She's only 8, but yet she's an
Oh,
old
yeah.
soul. Both
They
of them are.
Yeah.
But can she focus? No, I try to feed her omega-3s and blueberries.
Yeah.
You know, I try to counteract. I will not medicate
And that's
them.
the other thing, you know, the parents, and this is why it's important that parents attend this meeting, because you got a different child here. You have to look at it a different way.
Yeah, you gotta, I don't know, you gotta feed their mind and be open to what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have imaginations,
Yeah.
but you would be able to know what's being imagined and what's for real. I mean, I know my daughter, and she's down to the details. It was just like, wow.
Yeah, you know she's not making it up.
No, she's not a big storyteller.
Let's go to that website again. If you want some more information, info.robin at Munroe Falls Paranormal Society.com. would love to get some information on this. If you have a child that may have some of these special gifts, this would be the place to go. Get your information to find out, and Robin can get back to you and let you know if your child would indeed benefit from this type of group. There is no charge. You just have to pre-register.
Yep.
So they know how many people are coming, and they'll tell you where they meet, because right now it's not open day.
Right. I don't want to give that out for safety and security.
For safety reasons, they don't want to just say, you know, where everybody's going to be at. But by all means, email if you have a child that has this kind of gift. And you know, we've done several shows with Paranormal Society. It's always interesting, right, because this topic doesn't go away. I mean, there's always stuff that's going on.
Oh yeah.
With going for the ghosts, and just going to all these things. And I know Eric was saying, "Oh, come on!" And then
we need to get you out.
Well, but you see, when you go to bed at 9 o'clock, you're not as likely to stay up all night. Okay,
you
I just can't
when your
do
adrenaline's going. Oh,
adrenaline,
absolutely.
I'm out. I would be so bad on these. I'd say, give me a quilt, and I'd be asleep. Who cares if the ghost is there?
Just take a little power nap.
Who cares if a ghost is there or not? I'm sleeping.
Right.
I'm not gonna do that. But any final thoughts that you have? Anything that we haven't touched on regarding this new fantastic program,
right,
that we have not talked about, that you think would be important for us to know, Robin?
Being that it's, you know, a sensitive matter with children, and you know, the awkwardness that they naturally feel with or without gifts in school. I do want to stress that anyone who is registering, everything is completely confidential. We do not disclose any information. Obviously, you'll meet the other children and the other parents, but that's the utmost important to us, is that, I mean, we have confidentiality agreements that people will sign. You know, we don't disclose anything, so, you know,
and
just
you
want
really
them to feel
can't,
comfortable about that.
And maybe one meeting is talking about the diet and the similarities. Do you think they'll find a lot of similarities when they go to this meeting? For instance, the diet, the eye, and what you said about the eyes, that was interesting.
The eyes. Oh gosh,
what is
there's
that
all
about?
kinds of them. They just.
What are some of these similarities?
See, my
The big
both
eyes?
my kids had, you know, big blue eyes. They're almost like piercing,
So does
and
my
they would
son.
gaze off.
So does my son.
They would just gaze off, and you'd be like, "Wow, what are you looking at?" It's almost like they're just diving right into you and going right there. They love being outdoors. They'll just kind of go into these little zones where, you know, especially if the TV's on, you know, that's where the autistic or autism children come in. They might not be autistic, so be really
Let me bring
leery.
up another trait and tell me if this falls into it. They don't really need friends. They can have them,
Right.
but they are
Kind of
fine
independent.
on their own.
Yeah, that's more
that another
indigos.
trait?
See, indigos come into the world thinking, I already know my purpose.
Yeah.
They are very, I don't want to say self-absorbed, they're just super confident.
Yeah.
But they just already know their purpose, and they don't question that. They don't need friends.
They don't like stupid people either.
Right.
They don't like to waste time.
Right, it's straight to the point.
Yeah.
Like, don't
waste my time. This is stupid. Or why are
Don't
you
give me
talking
any
out of class?
baloney,
You're
just
being
tell me.
stupid. Yeah, they don't like that.
Where the crystal kids, man, they're truth seekers.
Okay, how would they? Well, give me an example. What you see. What would they be doing?
Like those eyes, they're almost, they draw you in. They're piercing, they'll draw you in, and they'll keep you there for a minute, and they'll let you go when you're ready. I mean, babies have been, baby crystal kids, little crystal babies have been, you know, stopped on the street when mom's out walking them about going, your child is like the most amazing. They're very affectionate. They're very affectionate, they're very forgiving. That's the other scary thing, is my daughter is super, she's so affectionate and loving. She's just, I don't know.
Well, we're out of time.
I can't answer that one.
Robin Vaughn is with me today, and we are out of time. Thank you for joining us on our program. Again, we would love to hear from you regarding this program. Another wonderful show with Robin Vaughn. We look forward to hearing more about this group, maybe bring some of the kids on. And thank you for joining us on Family Focus.